Nothing beats the feeling of riding your motorcycle, but there's a lot of misinformation out there that can get you in trouble. Today, we're going to sift through some of the most common motorcycle myths that people still believe, either because they heard it from a friend or read it online. Let's clear the air and dive into the truth behind these myths. First off, let's address one of the biggest misconceptions. Laying down your bike in a crash will save your life. This advice often comes from older riders who survived the last generation of motorcycle technology. The thinking is that by sliding instead of hitting an upright object, you can lessen the blow and avoid injury. Here's the reality. Modern motorcycles have vastly improved braking systems compared to the bikes of the past. When you choose to lay it down, you're completely surrendering control and putting yourself at greater risk. Staying upright and braking hard gives you a much better chance of avoiding a crash altogether, or at least minimizing the severity of the impact. The only guarantee with laying it down? Damaged gear, road rash, and hefty medical bills. So remember, stay in control and use your brakes. Next up, let's talk about bike warm-ups. Some riders insist that you need to let your motorcycle idle for 10 minutes before heading out, especially on chilly mornings. They start their bike, rev the engine a couple of times, and sit waiting for what seems like an eternity. The truth is, while a brief warm-up is necessary, letting it idle excessively is a waste of time and fuel. Modern fuel-injected motorcycles are engineered to warm up more effectively when you're riding them gently. Instead of waiting 10 minutes, just fire it up, let it idle for about 30 seconds, and then take off smoothly. This approach will get your engine up to the right temperature in no time, without the drawbacks of long idling. Finally, let's tackle the idea that loud pipes save lives. You've probably heard this phrase thrown around quite a bit. If it were true, every motorcycle with a factory exhaust would be in danger given how many riders use them. Here's the issue. Sound travels backward. So the noise from your exhaust is actually moving away from the cars in front of you. That driver who is about to change lanes isn't hearing your loud pipes. They're focused on the road ahead. Relying on sound alone to alert others to your presence isn't a reliable safety strategy. By debunking these myths, we're not just saving you from potential problems. We're also empowering you with the truth so you can ride safely and confidently. Let's keep that knowledge flowing and ride smart. Let's dive into some popular motorcycle myths that can mislead riders and put them at risk. First up, let's talk about noise and visibility. Many riders believe that having music playing, a GPS, or even a phone call going on makes them safe on the road. But here's the truth. Your lane positioning, defensive riding skills, and high visibility gear are what truly keep you safe. Sure, a lower exhaust might give you a sense of security, but don't kid yourself. None of that will prevent a distracted driver from cutting you off. If you enjoy loud pipes for the sound, that's fine. But don't mistake that for an actual safety feature. Now, on to the myth that bigger engines equal faster bikes. A lot of people assume that an 1800cc cruiser must outpace a 600cc sport bike. Not so fast. A motorcycle's performance hinges on more than just engine size. It's all about the power-to-weight ratio, gearing, and aerodynamics. A 600cc sport bike, for instance, is lighter, revs higher, and has a superior power-to-weight ratio, allowing it to easily outperform an 1800cc cruiser. Even within the same category, engine size doesn't always mean speed. A 1000cc adventure bike might prioritize torque and off-road capability, while a 750cc street bike is engineered for pure acceleration. So next time you hear that bigger is always faster, remind folks that a Ninja 400 can easily outpace a Harley touring bike. Next, let's address the notion that you must always use premium gas in your bike for better performance. Some riders believe that higher octane means more power and better efficiency. That's a misunderstanding of how octane works. The octane rating merely gauges resistance to knocking, not fuel quality or overall power output. Your bike's engine is specifically designed to run on a certain octane level, and opting for a higher octane fuel won't grant you extra power. It's just a different burn style. Unless your bike's manual explicitly states the need for premium gas, you're likely just wasting money. Modern engines have knock sensors, so if you fill up with regular in a bike that requires premium, it will adjust automatically. Yes, you might slightly lose power, but that's about it. Stick to the octane rating that your bike was designed for, rather than what some gas station advertisements may suggest. Lastly, let's clear up the myth that gear isn't necessary for short rides. Some riders think, "I'm just going around the corner, I don't need my gear." But let's be real here. Accidents can occur close to home and often at low speeds. That thinking is flawed. Most motorcycle crashes happen within just a few miles of the house, and even at lower speeds, a crash can lead to serious injuries. Ever scraped your knee on concrete? Now imagine going down on a bike without proper gear. There's no such thing as being too safe, regardless of the distance or speed. So keep these facts in mind as you gear up and hit the road. Riding smart means staying informed. When it comes to riding, the reality is the pavement doesn't care how experienced you are. A spill at just 30 mph can lead to serious injuries, whether you're doing a quick ride or cruising down the highway. That's why gearing up with at least the basics, like a helmet, gloves, and jacket, is always a smart choice. The hard truth? The ground feels just as unforgiving at 20 mph as it does at 80 mph. Now, let's talk about chain oil. Some riders have this idea that once they've lubed their chain, they can just forget about it for months. But that's simply not true. Chain lube wears off quickly, especially in rain, dirt, and during high-speed rides. Neglecting it can lead to severe wear, stiff links, and a potential snap that could leave you stranded, or worse, cause an accident at high speed. So take a few moments to maintain your chain. Ideally, you should be reapplying lube every 300 to 600 miles or after a rainy ride. Skipping this step can shorten the life of your chain and sprockets, costing you much more in replacements than a quick spray of lube. Moving on to engine braking. There's a misconception that it can harm your motorcycle. Some riders shy away from letting off the throttle, thinking it's better to rely solely on the brakes. That's actually a misunderstanding. Engine braking can reduce wear on your brakes and is a technique used by high-performance riders and racers for maintaining control. The issue arises when riders downshift too aggressively or dump the clutch, leading to wheel lockup. However, when done smoothly and with control, engine braking is a valuable skill that every rider should master. And what about stopping at lights? You've probably seen newer riders anxiously placing both feet down as if their bikes might tip over. Some believe that keeping their feet planted promotes stability, but that's not true. When your bike comes to a stop, it's stable under its own weight if you're braking properly. The best technique? Keep one foot on the ground and let the bike do its thing. When it comes to stopping safely on your motorcycle, a common tip is to keep one foot down while applying the rear brake. This technique helps you maintain control and sets you up for a smooth takeoff, reducing unnecessary wobbling. Dropping both feet to the ground at every stop can actually hinder your stability and slow you down. Next up, let's talk about shifting into neutral at stoplights. Many riders think that doing this saves gas because they believe less engine load equals better fuel economy. The reality? Modern motorcycle engines are designed to idle efficiently, and the fuel difference between idling in gear versus neutral is negligible. Plus, constantly shifting can wear out your clutch faster. In a tricky situation where you need to take off quickly, you'll waste precious time trying to find neutral. So really, unless you're at a long train crossing, it's generally best to stay in gear. Now, onto the brakes. There's a common misconception among new riders that you should apply the front and rear brakes equally every time you stop. While it seems logical, it's actually not the best approach. Your front brake provides about 70 to 90% of your stopping power. As you slow down, the bike's weight shifts forward, increasing the effectiveness of the front brake. Relying too heavily on the rear brake can increase your stopping distance. However, the rear brake isn't useless. It plays a crucial role in low-speed maneuvers and stability control. By learning to modulate your front brake, you'll improve your stopping distance and overall safety. Lastly, let's clear up the myth about braking in new tires. Some riders believe that they should push their bikes hard to brake in new tires, thinking that aggressive riding is the way to go. This isn't just incorrect. it's risky. New tires need a break-in period due to a release agent from manufacturing that makes them slick. Instead of riding aggressively, take it easy and ride normally for the first 100 miles. Gradually increase your lean angle as the surface of the tire roughens. Going full throttle on those fresh tires is a surefire way to invite an accident. Let those tires break in naturally for a safer ride. And remember, the old myth about changing your oil every 3,000 miles is worth questioning too. Let's take a deeper dive into why that's not a one-size-fits-all rule. Many riders still cling to outdated advice and misconceptions about motorcycle maintenance. The truth is, most modern motorcycles can go 5,000, 6,000, or even 8,000 miles between oil changes, depending on the engine and the type of oil used. If you're using full synthetic oil, you can push that interval even further without any problems. So, where did the old 3,000-mile rule come from? It originated back when motor oil wasn't as advanced as it is today, and more frequent oil changes were a must. However, thanks to improvements in lubricants and engine design, oil longevity has increased significantly. Want to know when to change your oil? The best place to find that information is in your owner's manual, not some outdated guideline from decades ago. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's the most surprising motorcycle myth you've encountered? Or maybe you believed one until you learned the truth. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more insights. Safe riding, and remember, keep your wheels on the ground.